Okay, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Peace to the family. 747 24/7 361 degrees. Give me some time to set up the video. Thank you for everybody that has been patiently waiting. Peace to the family. Want to make sure you guys can hear me. It's going to be a fun broadcast. As you see, I'm going to be writing a couple things, so I would get my pad and paper out. Shout out to the family, Coom 747 24/7 361 degrees. Let me cut this down a little bit. All right. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. Shout out to the family, 747 24/7 361 degrees. All right, so sounding pretty decent. Thank you for everybody coming in. Now, I will be writing in the codex today. Codex. I think this is going to be a fun video. It's going to be a real fun video. A real fun lesson in this video. I think it's a lesson that I always like going over. So I want to say shout out to everybody that's supporting the movement. 747 24/7 361 degrees. Yeah. So if you would want to know how to write in the codex or anything like that, this would be a time to watch the video. Very good video. All right. So I want to say shout out to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody that supports the movement. You know who you are. All right. And I would like to formally introduce myself. I am Solar Prime Supreme 131 Lazarus Lamel of the Messiah Code movement. All right. So effectively, my job is to share information about the Messiah Code, enlightenment, something that could be useful. All right. And there's many other things that I can say is my job description. But more or less it's to be informative to the people and let you know that we are the body of the Messiah. All right. So now, when we talk about the body of the Messiah, we're talking about numbers that move between, let me see if I can do this, 1 and 31. You see that? Cool. 1 and 31. So that's very important because that equals the sacred name as well as the sacred number. All right, because it would be L M L. If you can see that, Lamel. That's when you don't put the vowels in 131. You still get the name, or you get the name Lamel. All right. So that's something that I share with you. And another thing is, like, everything is just a part of a code, more or less. When we talk about the 131, we're talking about the body of the Messiah, or all the numbers that flow between the 1 and 31 number. All right. If you see that right there, that's the body of the Messiah. It literally forms a body. I don't know. It just wasn't showing up too much. But I'm going to do my best to provide clarity for those that asked about the codex, how to read and write in the codex. All right. So it's moving across the screen. You'll see a message that's flowing across the screen, and it is my hope that by the end of this video you'll be able to decipher what's written on the screen. All right. So now these numbers are very important. If anything, I can say how they flow, how they move, how they operate, how they exist in what we call the mainframe consciousness. All right. It's up to you. It's up to you to decipher the mainframe and utilize it for what's necessary. All right. Now, let me begin and show you how the code operates. All right. So now we start off with the dot, of course. The dot. The dot is very important because the dot represents your thoughts. It represents where everything comes from. That dot right there. That dot is the dot of creation. All right. That's where everything starts. It's the dot. Okay. Now, that dot begins to move. And as the dot moves, it creates a shape. All right. And that would be the number 1. Because as you see, the number 1 has only one angle. One angle. So this would be a matrix, because in ancient times, the corner of the temple, or the most inner portion of the temple, was called the dabir. It was called the dabir, which was also translated as matrix. All right. Cool. So as you see, 1 has 1 point. And if I use two dots, 2 has 2 points. As you see that. If I use 2 dots, you'll see that 2 has 2 points. All right. So just to make it real simple and make it fast, 2, 3 has 3 points. As you see, 1, 2, 3, 3 angles. All right. 4 has 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. These are the angles. These angles represent angels. All right. Because these angular positions, or these angular designations, actually represent how one could interpret the code. All right. Now, it's a frequency of thought. Moving forward, look at this. The number 5. The number 5 has 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know my writing is kind of weird, but you hear what I'm saying. Messiahs. We go into the number 6. It does the same thing. the functionality of it operates the same way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My fault. Y'all can see that? All right. So we're learning something here, or more or less how the code operates, how the code moves throughout the mainframe. You can do the same thing with the number 7, of course, which is like that. And that has 7 points. That has 7 points. All right. So even with the number 8, it's the same thing. The number 8 has 8 points. You see it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points. Now I brought you back. The reason why I brought you back to the idea of, watch this, 9 has 9 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 has 9 points. If you can see that. All right. Let's continue to build. Let's continue to grow. All right. So these are mathematical structures. I know they look like typical numbers to you, the way you interpret it, but these are actually mathematical structures. All right. So these are also related to the alphabet as well. So, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. All of them have positions and represent something as well. So the way we write is, like, let's say this is a A, this is a B, this is a C, and as you know, in the codex, our D is like this. The D is like that. The reason why the D is like that, because remember I showed y'all a 4, right? We was able to take that 4 and flip it over, because this is the 4. These are the 4 elements, more or less. They would represent the 4 cardinal positions. Okay, the number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the codex, we were able to become the 5th element and flip to the 4 into a 5. That's why you see this 4 is really 5 points. It's not 4 points. It actually have 5 points, then 4. And you might say, why is that? Because this is when you took your throne. This is actually when you took your throne. And you was able to take the 4 and flip it upside down and sit on the 4 as the letter H, sitting over heaven or hell. Okay? And it also goes back to Revelations chapter 4 when it describes this type of discussion. So yeah. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. Okay? So this is a G. And if I would spell something like God, it would be G-O-D in the codex. If I would spell something like God, just very simple. If I would spell my name in the codex, it would be L-A-M-A-L. That's how I would spell my name. The reason why is because it's frontwards and backwards. The name flows frontwards and backwards. So it'd be L-A-M-E-L. Depends on how you want to write. And when you write in the codex, you use a dot to separate the words. Like, for instance, if I said something like, I love you, it would be like this. it would be simply like this. I, which is the ninth letter of the alphabet, I, right? Dot, love, L, O, V, E, love, right? And then U, Y, Y, O, and then you'll put U. Real simple. So that would be I love you. If y'all can, I mean, y'all reading it upside down. You're reading it upside down, but if I was just writing it more or less, you know what I'm talking about. See if y'all can see it like that. Yeah. So, let me see. Now let me go past 9. After 9, when we just writing in a codex, after 9 you get 10. This would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right. But those are also letters like O. This would be like O. This, excuse me, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. All right. All right. Shout out to El Ya. All right. So, if you just coming in here, I'm giving a lesson on how to write in a codex. Now, these are geometrical shapes that actually correspond with phonetic frequencies as well as geometrical shapes. The geometrical shapes correspond with phonetic frequencies as well as a number system. Okay? So now we can even go even deeper, because what I want to show y'all is it's a such thing as what we call the pass keys. All right. So the pass key is the next level information when it comes to writing or interpreting the codex, because again, everything is based upon a geometrical shape. So remember, I showed you the upgraded body of the Messiah. And I don't know if I can put this in a whatever, but you saw the upgraded body of the Messiah, right? And the upgraded body of the Messiah was basically how to navigate the mainframe. It was a way on how to navigate the mainframe itself. That's what it was about. All right. So let me see if I can show y'all. Yeah, we'll put this on the screen. This is the upgraded body of the Messiah. If you notice the body, this body is very sound. It's mathematically it is mathematically balanced. It has harmony with everything from head to toe. This right here. This is ultimately what I bring you to. This is why you see it in a lot of things that, you know, that I represent, because I really want you to see this image for what it is, so you'll be able to interpret it and utilize it for your best interest. All right, for any type of solution that you consider to be life itself. All right. So if you look at this number, if you look at the body, you know, in the regular body, we start from 1 through 31. It goes from 1 through 31. All right. But in this body, we start from the number 32. So the number 32 is right here, and it's located on what we call the it's basically a olfactory bulb. Excuse me, I just lost my train of thought. But it's the location of the number 32 is at the olfactory bulb. Now, this olfactory bulb is a way for you to tap into your third eye, or your first eye, or should we call it? Because if you notice, if you smell certain things, or if you're around certain atmospheres or something, you start to remember certain things. All right? So when you breathe through your nose, a purple light lights up. A color that is purple, that resembles the hue of purple. All right? It lights at your olfactory bulb, bringing you back to messiahship. Okay? Now, if we move forward, we going down. See, now, all of these things correspond with a way of how the body functions itself, the spiritual body. All right? The number 32 is connected with music. It's connected with the beat of the drum. It's connected with literally networking itself. Because if you think of IPv4 moves from 1 through 32, which is 4 times 8. All right? So now, as you move down, you got number 33. You see number 33, which is another triangular figure. You see 3 triangles and you see 3 dots. That's the number 33. The number 34, as you see, number 34 is what? Right there. It's a triangle with a square inside. That means the triangle is bigger. The triangle represents 3, and the square is smaller. It represents 4. All right? And as you moving down, you see the number 35. And now we talking about the intestines, how your intestines are. All right? This is at your number 35, because this is the psychic. It's just below the solar plexus. This is the psychic position of yourself. It also lights up like the olfactory bulb, except for its color is yellow. And it's a way to tap into the mainframe. You got to think about all of these things like people called them chakras of a while back, but these would be nodes, how you tap into the network. That's what these positions or these numbers would represent. They would represent nodes on how you tap into the mainframe consciousness itself. All right? So, yeah, moving down, you got the number 36. So the number 36 is at the belly button. All right? Now, and this is called the sacred chamber. You know, you got the psychic at 35. All right? 3 times 5. The 5 it covers magic, and then when you put the number 3 added to it, it would cover magic from past, present, and future. That's why it's called the psychic. All right, just the way the numbers break down. Number 34 is El Kisei, the heart, or the spiritual heart, because when we talking about the spiritual heart that exists, see. If you look at the heart, you got 4 different chambers that the heart has. All right? And your heart must reflect green, the color green. That's why that color is green right there. And then you got the square right there, because the square at number 34, it enables you to reach north, east, south, and west at the 3, at the correspondence of 3, which is past, present, and future. All right? Now, you know, just moving down, I'm just showing you, for anybody that sees this diagram and they wonder, well, why does he have this diagram of this, you know, mechanic figure? It looks like almost like a machine. All right? It's almost, all right, well, I'm going to tell you, man is a machine. A man and woman is a biological machine. We operate like autonomous machines, autonomous biological machines. All right. If anything, I can share with you on that note on what it represents. So at the number 36, you got the chamber. All right. The sacred chamber. And if you notice, it's at the belly button. And it also would represent the umbilical cord of the woman, or how she gives life in a sacred chamber at 36. See, the number 6 represents carbon, because at the 6th frequency you get carbon. So 3 would be all 3 in one, past, present, and future. All right, just breaking down the diagram that you see in the background. All right, so now shout out to Mark, Messiah Code All-Star. As you go down, you got the rope. Now this rope is the rope that binds us. If anything, I can say to you, because if you look below the belly button, normally you'll see a line. Not a line going across, but a line going down. All right. This line is representative of the higher portion of oneself to tap into that from which he has come from. That's why it looks like this. All right. And as you go down, you got the shield. And if you notice, the pelvis bone looks like almost like a shield. All right. And then you see, like, if you notice, I got the protractor right here. The reason why the protractor is right there is because this is a tool of the Messiah. This is a tool of the Messiah, the protractor. All right. And you might say, well, why is that? Because this will help you build any temple that you want along the horizon, the horizon. All right. But that helps you tap into that which is above and that which is below. Because if you notice the 50s, these are the 50s right here. This star right here. This represent the degrees that are below. And these are the 70s. These represent the degrees that are above. All right. See, you don't have to use your GPS when you can utilize your God PS. If anything, I can say to you, Messiah. Yeah, utilizing your God PS to tap into the inner frequency of thought so you'll never be lost. All right. So let me break this down even more so people would get it and know where I'm coming from, where I say that you can utilize your body to chart the stars, to literally chart the stars. All right. You are never lost. You are never lost because you are operating from where? The dot. That's where we operate, from the dot. All right. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to share with all the Messiahs. Okay. So we utilize this protractor and we utilize the compass to more or less move about and build our temple, our sacred temple here in the universe, or what we call the main frame. All right. So yeah, you got the 40s, right? If you notice the 40s, okay, the 40s would be on the left leg. The 40s represent the square. You see it? I put it on there for y'all. See, I can draw this stuff out, but I already did it so y'all can be able to see it. All right. So look at this. This represents the numbers that correspond with the 40s. So every time you see a square, you see the number 40. And I want you to think about that when you're moving about. When you're thinking about life itself, the number square represents the number 40. I showed y'all the number 4 and how it corresponds with the codex. All right. And as you go up, you got 41. You see that? El Tariq. El Tariq. The one who takes the road at 41. Because at 40, you got the prophet. 40 is the prophet. 40 is the prophet. All right. So, yeah. That's at the number 40. Because one becomes a prophet at the age of 40 because he moved through the cycles of 10 4 times. And that goes back to the womb because at what we would call 70 days, the brain is fully developed, or mostly developed, should I say. The components, the 11 components that the brain needs to operate, the baby has it. All right? At 70 days, 7 times 10. All right? Bringing you back to the 7 once again. But, you know, at 40, what happens is you become the prophet. And you move up from the prophet and you take the path, which is El Tariq. All right? And then you become the window watcher, or you go up to the window watcher, which is 42. You see it? Because it's the eyes. It's the square that oversees the eyes. All right? The window watcher. And then you get to 43, which is the truth speaker. All right? All of these things correspond. You see the square inside. You see the triangle. You see the triangle inside the square. When you saw 30, remember you saw 30, 34? 34 was the square inside the triangle. So naturally, when you read the codex, you're going to read 43. Oh, yeah, 43, the truth speaker. All right? This is the spiritual archetype that links up with the number 43, the truth speaker. All right? Moving on up, you got the diamond, which is at 44. 44 is the diamond. All right? And all of these are on the thigh. If you notice, like if you really notice this thing, like how it goes down, you'll notice that basically as it moves, it has a story to tell of the Messiah. Because as he goes to the diamond, because he went to become a prophet, to walk the path, to come up to the window watchers, who are the truth speakers. Who are the truth speakers. All right? That became the diamonds who walked up the ladder. Because that's at 45, which is at the knee, the left knee. 46 is, you notice, a square is a hexagram inside a square. All right? And then you got 47, which is the cross. And then 48 is the square inside the cross. All right? And all of these geometrical shapes correspond with how to navigate through the mainframe. All right? And if you notice on the 80s move on up the same way. Because the reason why the 80s are on the opposite leg, if you notice the 80s on the opposite leg of the 40, is because now you not only have 4 points, you have 8 points to move about. You know what I'm saying? My fault. I'm trying to shrink it down again. So y'all can see it. See the body of the Messiah. Now this is what we call the upgraded body of the Messiah, or the body of resurrection. We utilize this body to correspond or navigate through the mainframe, or we affectionately call the network. See, now if you ever read the memorandum on the 24th verse, it says that I believe it's the 24th verse. I don't want to be mistaken, but it says that it's no more Christianity. It's no more Islam. It's no more Buddhism. It is no more whatever you want to call it. It's no more none of that. The only thing there is the network, and you got to tap into it. Real simple, like when it explains it in the codex. All right? Real simple when it explains it. All right? So, how can I continue with this build? so we can continue the lessons of the Messiah Code. All right. So, yeah, let me do this. So, now, I brought y'all to 10, 11, 12, 13, or whatever like that. I'm going to bring you to some higher numbers. And we'll see how this works out. We'll really see how this works out, all right? Shout out to all the messiahs. You know who you are. I want to say thank you for everybody watching YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. You know, thank you. All right, so let me get to the pass keys. All right, so with the pass keys, it's like a little bit different, okay? Because you got the 1 through 31 sequence. All right. Now remember, the other letters, like after you go past Z, which is the 26th letter. Excuse me. After you go past Z, when you go past Z, if you notice, it's a bracket. Z is a bracket. It's a computer code. It's all a computer code, man. Because you thought it stopped at the letter Z. No. After Z, after the 26th letter, you got the 27th letter. All right? Which is GH. Ra. Ra. That's the sound for the 27th letter. Ra. It stands for Gaforo, which is the spirit of immunities. It's basically like a good and bad spirit. You know, one is a punisher and one is a lover. All right? More or less. One is a forgiver and one is a destroyer. Okay? So, that's the GH. Then you got the SH, which is the 28th letter. SH. And then you got the 29th letter, all right, which is ST. That's where it stops or where it starts, all right, at the 29th letter. Because after that, you got the 3 dots, which represents 30. It represents 30. All right? And then you got 31. 31 would be this. That would be 31. Now, if you notice, 31 has 19 points. Because it operates as the alpha and omega, whatever you want to say. That's how it operates. That's why it has 19 points. The 31. And then you actually can spell the name Lamel utilizing that image. All right? You can spell the name Lamel. Look. L. Look at it. L. I turn it this way. You see the M. M. And then L. And then if you want to put an A in there, you can see an A as well. Because you see the A right there. A. And if you want to say a E, you want to put the E in it, it's right there. E. So you can spell the name Lamel just from that pictograph. Or that petroglyph. You see that? You can spell Lamel. I am L. I am El. Lamel. I am El. 1 a.m. 1:31 a.m. which is I am. You know, all these things are very important to notice. Look, I'm gonna show y'all another thing that's fascinating, because when you think of the 131, it points you to the North Star, which is Cassiopeia. All right, the Northern Star. If you look at the North Star Cassiopeia, Cassiopeia is 1. Oh, that's a 13, right? This is the North Star. Watch this. 1. Okay. 13. Let me write 13 again. 13. Let me write 13 again. 13. Let me write 13 again. 13. These are codes. These are all codes that are cracked. They're all codes that are cracked. Look at it. This is the 8-pointed star. This equals the 8-pointed star. This is the sister of the North. You see that? This is the sister of the North. This is the sun. This is the sun. When they say, oh man, this is in Luke chapter 1 verse 31, right? Luke 1:31. It says in Luke 1:31, it says, oh man, you shall give birth to a son, right? And his name shall be called basically the Savior. All right? Not Jesus. Because for anybody to argue why we don't talk, we don't represent the Christ consciousness. The reason why we don't represent the Christ consciousness, because if you go into John chapter 1 verse 41, all right, it talks about when they found the Messiah, it was later interpreted as Christ or Christos. So we go with what first he was recognized by, or the spirit of the moment was recognized by. And then when they gave us Christ, they actually gave us Hellenism. They gave us hell as well. Just keep it real. They gave us a form of hell. So yeah, now, like I said, we represent the body of the Messiah, and that would be 1 Corinthians 12:25 through 27. Why 27? Because the 27, like I said, is Chaforu, the Holy Spirit. And when you break down the codex, and when you look at the body itself, it tells so much of a story. Like, for anybody asks me, how did I learn it? I learned it in a sequence of 31 days. All right. I learned it like every day the universe was putting me through a different test to express what was already there. For anything that I can tell you. All right. Now, as it breaks down, like I said, I showed y'all early in the build where I showed y'all numbers. I said, if you look at these numbers are mathematically sound. They're mathematically sound, and they're mathematically telling you a story. Look at this. 1 has 1 point. It has 1 dabir. Now remember, dabir in the scriptures is what they called the innermost portion of the temple. It was later translated as the matrix. All right? The innermost portion of the temple is the dabir. All right. So now you got to look at the dabir. You got to look at the angles, because the angles are really angels. Messiah. The angles are really angels. So at the number 1, because the angelos means messenger. So when you're at a certain frequency of thought, a certain chamber, you're receiving a certain message from the universe. All right, so that's why it always corresponds like that. So 1 had 1 point, which is the letter A, ah. And then you got 2 has 2 points, which is B. All right, you see it, 2 points, 1, 2 points. 3 has 3 points, 1, 2, 3. All right. You said, wow, man, I thought this was English. No, it's not English. This right here is alien language. All right. So now it meaning that we can speak to the aliens. We can speak to anybody across the universe, because men and women lie, but numbers don't lie. All right. So you get the number 4. It corresponds with 4 points. But I told y'all, we flipped the 4 over. Let me show y'all this. We flipped that 4 over and it became the 5. Listen, it was no longer 4 points to us, because we became the 5th element. You see that number 4 right there? That 4 right there corresponded with the 4 points of a square, of being on your square, north, east, south, and west. All right, north, east, south, and west, however you want to say it. All right, but hear it out. When you flip the 4 over, it became the throne that you sat on, because this was the hell that was over top of you. Hear me out. This 4 right here, this 4 legs, these 4 legs, this 4 points, this is why they put your throne upside down. You notice it's 4 points in the number 4 until you're able to crack the code. What? Look at it. 4 has 4 points, y'all. Does it not have 4 points? 4 has 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? We cracked the code. That 4 became the 5th element, because this 4 has 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because hell no longer reigns over us. If I could show you it, hell no longer reigns over us. That's the throne upside down with the number 4 like that. That's the seat upside down. That's the upside down seat. That's hell over top of you, ruling over you. But we sit on heaven because we became the 5th element. Not Brucium. I'm not talking about Brucium as the 5th element. If y'all want to go back to the elemental chart, for anybody, for all the wise, smart people that want to act like you want to say something, all right? What I'm talking about is the direction, because north, east, south, and west represent elemental directions, all right? When you go to the 5 will represent going within, the dot, the center. That's the direction that you channel in for all the messiahs in the building, all right? Thank you for everybody watching in the YouTube, Facebook, across the universe. Thank you. TikTok as well. All right. So now we're cooking. We're cooking. So I showed y'all a way to crack the code. We speak alien language. All right. So now, if you notice, the number 5 has 5 points. We're going to bring you back. The number 5. Because you unlocked something. Now we brought you back to the number 5. 5 has 5 points. You see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yup, you see it. All right, 6 has 6 points. Yeah, you see that one too. Because it's the code. It's the code. Those are the matrix structures within the number itself, or how it operates within the frequency of thought. All right? Now, moving forward, you see the number 7. 7 is the same way. 7 has 7 points. We're going to play this game. Are we really going to play the game? Are we going to play the connect the dot game? Ladies and gentlemen, gods and goddesses, kings and queens and kings, emperors and empresses. All right? That number 7 got 7 dots on it. Yes. 7 dots. Number 8. We want to play this game? Let's play it. Let's play it. The number 8. What does it got? 8 dots. My fault. There you go. 8 dots. There you go. 8 dots with the number 8. Why is that? Because it's a frequency of thought in correspondence to the mainframe consciousness. That's what it is. 9, the number 9. We going to play that game too? The number 9, we going to play this game? The number 9 has 9 points. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I know it. I know it. 9 points, 9 dots. Sorry. 9 points, 9 dots. Yes. Messiahs. All right? It's the code. So after you go past the number 9, you crack the code. That's why the number looks like this, y'all. Look at it. It's the number J. Stands for just us or justice. You see that? Because you cracked the code. It was like a stop sign telling you do not go past. But you went past. That's why I said it's different between us and the people that practice numerology in a certain type of way, because we don't really use compound figures like that. Like, for instance, the number 10 is a number 10. That's number 10. The number 11 is number 11. It's not a 1 and a 0 in the codex. That's the letter K. It represented the holy seed at the number 11. All right? That's what it represented. That's the number 11. The number 12 represented the square. You see that? The number 13, look at it. Oh man, it's the letter M. I know, the number 13 is the letter M. I know. The letter M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. It was always like that. The number M, the letter M, they get from the sacred hieroglyphic symbol of the owl. If you notice, the triangle that's going down in the M represents the beak of the owl. Male, the nocturnal bird that sees through the darkness of disparity. These are the totems that we embrace as the Walu. Kum. All right. So after 13, you got 14, and I'm gonna show y'all 14. 14 is 2 dots. It's 14 because it represents a network of time. It represents a network of time that you have to put back together. The 14 pieces of Osiris, the 2 dots, time and space. That's what the 14 pieces of Osiris was. It represented time and space. 7 is 7. 7 times 7. Or 7 plus 7. All right? 7 times 7. What we doing here? What we doing here? What we doing here? What we doing here? What are we really doing here? 5 is the pinnacle. Come on, y'all. Walk with me. So I'm bringing you back to the 7. And why they say you're going to bring us back to the 7, Lamel? Because if I bring you back to the 7, and I'm going to go back to this dot on a 14 situation. The reason why I bring you back to the 7, because it's your temple here on earth. Because you got your square, which you must be on. And you must move to and fro. All right? To and fro with the square. All right? But you're two-dimensional. You're two-dimensional. You got to see, Lazarus is here to raise you up. Is here to raise your mind. That's what lasers are us is. Because when you was given the sword, remember the sword was the cut. All right? But the sword was the scalpel that was on your tongue. So you learn how to cut people the right way instead of the wrong way. But what can cut more precise than a scalpel? Lasers or us? Lazarus. Because Lazarus resurrects your mind state. A ritual of the Messiahs. Because Lazarus is really El Azar or El Asar, the same person that rises from the dead. Rises those up from the dead. Rises people up from the dead. You remember in the book of Ezekiel when they talk about shaking those bones and raising them up. In that same sequence, this is the purpose of it. So lasers are us. Real talk. So you got that square, which you had to be on your square. Because when you were lost and you was trying to find God, only thing you had to do was get on your knees. Because if you got on your knees, you had north, east, south, and west. If you just got on your knees, you would have found God in any direction. Right there. Like how the master teacher said. Dr. Phil, he talks about the dot. Don't forget the dot in the middle. Whether you draw in a square or a circle, don't forget the dot in the middle. All right? So yeah, that's north, east, south, and west. So you can get on your square so you don't be lost. Now we move up the square to the 3 dimensions, the higher portion of yourself, which is the triangle. And therefore you got your pyramid on the planet Earth. You got your square, and then you got your triangle. You got a temple right here on the planet Earth. You got the equation in you that measures and guards the universe itself. All of these instruments that man created to measure things or build things, they made it from you. It came from you. Messiah. All right? So we busting this down even more. See, I said when you come out of the matrix, remember the matrix is the womb. People are still in the womb. They have not graduated the school of thought that was presented to them. You was given Islam. Tell me, when did y'all graduated from Islam? Y'all was given a crisism or a crisis. When did y'all graduate from that? Y'all were given so many things of indoctrination. When did these things come to your mind to say, it's time to graduate? It's time to get to that 12th. It's time to go to 12th grade so I can go to the 13. And when you become the 13, you actually become the cornerstone. Because if we play in the game of adding the numbers up, 13 adds to number 4, which represents the block, the stone, the perfectly carved ashlar from situations that you go through that carve you right. That's what the 13 equals. The one that is times the 3. One that is connected with the 3. Person, places, and things. Past, present, and future. Man, woman, and child. If you see it like that. Because the 1 is a correspondence and the 3 is a correspondence. But this is the cornerstone, the number 13. These are the things that we learn as messiahs. We all have a purpose here on this planet, a calling. You have to be willing to answer the call, thus getting yourself out of the matrix. Messiah. You're never going to get out of the matrix until you answer that call. Be there. Pick up, pick up, pick up. Ring, ring, ring. Something got to be ringing in your head. Something got to be telling you, look, I got to move in this direction. Because like I said, if you practice the doctrine of the Messiah Code, you realize that you utilize the GPS, which is the God PS, to find yourself in any direction that you need to go. So you'll never be lost. Back again to the square. Pointing us back to the square. So when we talk about Lamel, we talking about the sacred name and the sacred number. 131 and Lamel. If you want to say it, Lamel, 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 Lamel. It's a palindrome. It's a palindrome. Sankofa. It's a palindrome. It sees frontwards and it sees backwards. Sankofa. We're going to do it like that. So 131 is I am, because we are collectively the body of the Messiah. The 131 is a correspondence. You see that right there? That's the lion's paw that pulls you out. That is symbolic of the cat that pulls you out. That hand right there, if you see it, this hand is the hand that pulls you out. The 131. 131. Lamel. L-M-L. Right there on your hand. Right there on your hand. The sacred name, L-M-L. And this represents the lion paw that pulls you out. So everything is mathematically connected. Everything is connected to how we operate and function as bodies of the Messiah. I tell you once again, the Messiah has returned. If you got a problem with it, don't walk in your greatness. Just sit back and deny the man, just like Peter did. Deny the greatness that's in you. But I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be a knocking. It's going to be knocking on your heart, telling you that it's more. It's something greater that you must receive on this planet. If you're willing to receive it. Messiah. We operate and we function as one body collectively. The 131. See, the Messiah was smart. The Messiah took the position of the foot, the right foot, and the head. If you notice, from the manifested body, the 1 being the right foot, the 2 being the shin, the 3 being the right knee, the 4 being the right thigh, 5 being the right hip, 6 being the right hand, 7 being the right forearm, 8 being the right median cubital vein, 9 being the right bicep, 10 being the right shoulder, and 12 and 13 being the right collarbone. The Messiah knew what position to take within the body. He said, I'm going to take this position of the right foot because I want you to walk with me. And then the Messiah took the position of the head because he said, I want you to think like me. Messiahs. Real simple. No Messiah is here as one Messiah. We all operate within the cell. Literally. Because cell is a hierarchy or a higher deity. When we come, I wouldn't even call it a deity. It is a higher principle of thought. Because we got 4 totems. 4 totems. You got shell, you got male, you got cow, and cell. All right? So shell is she who embodies the spirit of El. That's shell. All right? So shell is the turtle, the great ancestor. And if you notice, the turtle lived over 150 million years on this planet. It's one of the oldest creatures on this planet. The leatherback that travels back and forth from Mother Utla to Mother Africa. All right? So you got shell, which represents the turtle. Then you got male, which represents the great owl, the nocturnal bird that sees through disparity, that sees through the darkness, because it has the light that's within, and it's able to turn its neck 361 degrees, as do you, incorporating the spirit of the owl. Then we got cow, the sacred feline. Now, I told you, one of the things about cow is being a sacred feline is it moves gracefully through life. You can't be rushing around, moving around all hectic, expecting things to come so fast, or things is going to be like whatever. You got to embrace the spirit of cow and move gracefully through life. Move gracefully through life. You got to pounce on your prey. You literally got to pounce on your prey. Trust me on that. Because you just put it in the universe and it'll come to you. You don't got to do too much. You don't got to be belligerent. You be like cow and move gracefully, like what the universe presented to you to be. Then you got sail. Sail. All right? Remember, you got cow and sail. So cow and sail represent one body. They're not out at the same time. They represent eyes and ears. Cow representing the eyes of the feline, and then sail representing the ears of the fish. I'm telling you, all of this stuff is synchronized. You're going to say, Lamel, how did you come up with this? I did not come up with it. I did not. See, none of us possess the energy. It just moves through us if you allow it. All of this stuff is synchronized. It's no way I could have made this up. It's no way I could have sat back in a chamber and said, you know what? This is because somebody was here before me, created the letter M. Somebody here before me created the number 3 and all of these things. Somebody was here. I just let the spirit move to me and brought it to you as messiahs. So sail represents that ear to listen. So you listen. So you're able to listen with a heart, like with your heart. Why you think the heart represents the drum beat? And if you around certain things, your heart will start to move at the beat wherever you at. Trust me on that. Your heart will move and resonate with whatever beat that you're at. Messiah. So we cooking. We cooking. For anybody that follows the codex, today's date in the codex, I got you on that one. We are in the 3rd month. We are in the 17th moon and the 18th day. That's what your calendar should say in the age of Aquarius. Your calendar should say that. The reason why, I'm going to tell you, because we got 14 months in our calendar and 392 days. You should be calculating the cycles of the moon, which move from 1 through 28. The cycles of the moon. Calculating the cycles of the sun that move from 1 through 31. God's son, literally. Moving from 1 through 31. You should be calculating these things. And 1 through 14. Because if you go into Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, it tells you how to calculate time. We utilize the stars that orbit the dot. So that 14 is symbolic of Anno Domini, AD. Animated, dormant. That which is animated and that which appears dormant. AD. So today's date in the codex is 3/17/18 in the codex. Representing the 3rd month. The 3rd month is Bab. Bab. Bab Baba or Baba. It represents the sacred door that you crack open. Bab or Baba. It's at the knee of the Messiah, the number 3. Its position is the knee. All right? The reason why it's at the knee, Bab, is because you got to be flexible. Everything in the 3, you got to be flexible. You got to be able to bend yourself to the will of the universe and be flexible at times, because it's the only portion of the leg that's not stationary. It moves in a malleable way. So at the number 3, in this whole month, we must be flexible. We must be willing. The door is cracked now. We must be willing to open that door. Messiahs. All right? So we're at the 17th moon. Now remember, 17 is El Isra, or Q, the 17th letter of the alphabet. In the Codex, it's El Isra, the over-analytical thinker. Yeah, you notice it looked like Israel or Jacob. 2 brains, 2 hemispheres of the brain. Boom. The big-headed scientist. All right? That's what it's symbolic of. El Isra. The one who wants to be like the 7. You know, I'm really going to play with this. The one, here we go. 17 is really the one who tries to be like the 7. Oh, you want to be like God. That's the scientist. Jacob. At 7, I told you the Codex is telling you a story. Come on, y'all. Look. This is the number 17. All right? It stands for the letter Q. In English, or also in the Codex, how we read it. Right? It's called in our, or how should I say? It's archetype. Its spiritual archetype is called El Isra. Go look at the body of the Messiah. Go look at it. Go look at the picture. You'll see it's called El Isra. Look at that picture. Look at that picture. You'll see it's called El Isra. Where is that? Boom. The scientist. All right, my fault, y'all. So that is the 17, and that is one who tries to be like God, the scientist. Say, oh, you want to be like God. And there also is interpreted as the over-analytical thinker at the number 17. That's how the spirit operates in that archetype. You know what I'm saying? And then you got, then it was the 18th, that was the moon. So the hidden frequency, everything in the moon is what is hidden. Because remember, I said today's date is 3/17/18 in the Codex. All right? Now, every first of the month is always on a Tuesday. If you want to follow the calendar, every first of the month is always on a Tuesday. So if we follow in this calendar, it would be 13. It would be 13, 3. My fault. Then it would be 18, 19. All right? 3, 19, 20. Because this is how the cycle is running. I'm going to show you how it's going to flip. It's going to blow your mind. So it goes 3, 20, 21. These are how the date's going to flow. 3, 20, 22, 21, 22. 3, 22, 23. That's how the dates are going to look. All right? And it'll continue to go up And then it'll go like this. Look, watch this. 3, where was I at? 3, 22, 23. 3, 22, 23, right? This is how you utilize the calendar, how you count, how you measure the calendar. So, and we've been doing this since 2017 when we came into the 13th month and the first day. All right, and I'll explain that. So, yeah, you got 3. All right, 322, 23. Then you got 3, 23, 24, 3, 24, 25, 3, 25, 26, 3, 26, 27, 3, 27, 28. Oh, 327. Cool. 327, 28. And then you got 3, 28, 29, right? Y'all following me, right? And then you got 4. Then we come in the month of 4. 4, 1, 30. So on the 30th, it would be 4, 1, 30. Because the moon is what sets the clock over, or what sets the calendar over, the moon. All right? So, yeah. So then it would be 4, 2, 31, right? 4, 2, 31. Oh, man, I don't know if y'all can see that, man. My fault. It would be 4, 2, 31. All right? 4, 2, 31. And then it would be 4, 3, 1. Because the world calendar starts over. So the last number literally follows the world calendar, or the world number. All right? So then it would be 4, 3, 1. And then you will continue with the cycles. It would be 4. It was 4, 3, 1. Then it would be 4. Excuse me. It would be 4, 4, 4, 2, and so on. 4, 5, 3. I hope y'all understand how to do the Codex calendar. This is the age of Aquarius calendar as well. This would be considered the calendar for the age of Aquarius. So now you know how to write the calendar. For anybody that's watching TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, I will be expecting you to write the date and post the date in the Codex, if you could. It would help you keep track of it. Now remember, they gave us time. I wrote a whole book on this situation in The Secrets of Halloween, when I talk about Pope Gregory the 13th, when he flipped the time up. When he switched the time up in Octolus, or October. All right? To put you in the octagon, the fight, to break out as messiahs. This is the time. This is the frequency of time I'm bringing you to. Why? Because, pretty soon you're not going to be on Earth. You need another frequency of time and dates in order to operate or navigate. And thus, you have the Codex. No number is the same. You got 2,160 years of this age. None of the numbers are the same. There will be no combination that will be the same. Like, for instance, there will never be today's date in the Codex. There will never be a 3/17/18 in the Codex. It is a combination like itself. So this day is a combination that can be logged in space and time. All right? So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. This was a very good build. I really love it. I really love this stuff. I really hold back from these conversations because these are the private builds. This is what I privately discuss with people. Like for the people that's a part of the private family, that's a part of the private tribe, I really talk about the real stuff. The real stuff of how this information assimilates the mainframe consciousness. But until then, you know what it is. I'm going to say 747, 24/7, 361 degrees. Shout out to all the messiahs. You know who you are. Thank you for your time. It is worth $1 kajillion. If that is even a number. I really appreciate you. Cool.